Assalamu alaikum. We live in a world that is governed by patterns. Not perfect patterns, but patterns nonetheless. The ability to recognize these patterns and use them to anticipate future events is often what separates success from failure. That is, the less successful tend to see every event in isolation as simply a one-off oddity and fail to step back and reflect on the big picture to identify the governing patterns. There is perhaps no field where this rings more true than the field of investing. And while the investing world seems to be captivated by the crypto markets as of late, I think it's useful to understand the patterns that seem to recur in this market, most notably the crypto market cycle, so that we can use this knowledge to better inform our investment decisions. Now, if you're new here, my name is Rakan Kayali. I am the founder of Practical Islamic Finance, where we try to help people globally build wealth in a halal way. Become part of our growing community by going to practicalislamicfinance.com to sign up to our free newsletter, join our Discord and social media. Links to all of that is in the description of this video. Also, if you are a permanent resident of the United States and you need halal funding that can be used for basically anything, make sure to go to fundmebff.com and apply. And finally, if you're an accredited investor and you're looking to invest your money in a halal way, go to fundmebff.com and join our investors mailing list. Again, the link to do that is in the description. So market cycles happen in all financial markets, and the crypto market is no exception. A crypto market cycle simply refers to the period between the two latest peaks or two latest lows of a market and the various stages between these 2 points. Some people define the stages of the market cycle by the emotions that they perceive to be dominant among investors, starting with hope, optimism, and belief, and this is when you really want to be adding to your position. Then the cycle peaks when emotions of thrill and euphoria dominate investors, and this is when you want to start winding down your positions. Then complacency starts to set in and people start to slowly trickle towards the exit doors, and gradually the trickle becomes a flood when emotions of anxiety and denial turn into panic and finally depression. Identifying when we're in which stage of the market cycle is not an easy task, and it's often more of an art than it is a science. I remember in 2017 when my mom started asking me about Bitcoin because the woman in her WhatsApp group, which was dedicated to cooking, started talking about it. In retrospect, that was probably a clear sign that we were at the very tippy top of that cycle. As per the short history of Bitcoin, that is since 2009, Bitcoin market cycles have lasted approximately 4 years. The Bitcoin halving event, which happens once every 4 years and marks the point when the reward for mining Bitcoin transactions is cut in half, has historically been near the middle of the market cycle. The latest Bitcoin halving event occurred on May 11th of 2020, with the next one expected to occur in the spring of 2024. This means, if the patterns of the past are to reoccur, that the peak for Bitcoin in this cycle should come late 2021 or early 2022. Now, like I always say, any projections into the future should be taken with a hefty grain of salt. Also, do your own due diligence. This video is not financial advice. You know the drill. Now, what if one wants to outperform Bitcoin by investing in other cryptocurrencies? To outperform Bitcoin with other cryptos, also known as altcoins, you have to understand the altcoin cycle in relation to the Bitcoin cycle because the two are slightly different. I found this handy image online which I think describes what is known as the rotation trade in crypto, which I think is useful to keep in mind. So when people are depressed about crypto in general, that's when you really want to start stacking Bitcoin. Bitcoin is typically the first to recover in a market cycle, followed by the other cryptocurrencies roughly in the same order of their market cap, with the larger market caps moving higher first, followed by the smaller ones. So to stay one step ahead of the market when Bitcoin takes off, the crypto rotation trade moves to altcoins, starting with the highest market cap and progressively moving into smaller and smaller caps. Then finally, when the smaller altcoins take off, this trade moves back into Bitcoin. Now, this process may repeat multiple times, and then finally at the end of the cycle, you want to reduce your exposure to all cryptos, including Bitcoin. Now, that said, if you are like me and you are a believer in the long-term merits of Bitcoin, you will never exit Bitcoin completely. You just reduce your exposure to it, but you keep a base amount that you never sell. This is at least what I do. Now, during this rotation, you may ask, well, what altcoins should I buy? Not all of them are going to go up. Certainly some are better than others. My rule of thumb is that I only invest in the ones that have proven utility. I never invest in anything that is pure theory and hasn't been put to the ultimate test of practical use yet and gained some traction. I don't consider price appreciation a utility. So if the altcoin hasn't proven to be able to do anything except appreciate in price, think SafeMoon, then this doesn't count as utility for me. I want it to be used to build something that is useful to people before I invest. This was the thinking behind my latest crypto pick, and if you'd like to see my newest pick and follow my crypto portfolio, you can do so by becoming a premium or elite member. Link to do either of those things is in the description of this video. So that was a really quick overview of the crypto market cycle. I hope you found it beneficial. If you did, do me a favor and leave a like. I'd really appreciate that. If you'd like to see this handsome face more often, make sure to subscribe. And until next time, make sure to take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you all.